everyone, I'm Christina of Lacuna Coil, and you're watching Sonic Perspective.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another interview of Sonic Perspectives. I'm Rodrigo, and my guest today is the incredible Cristina Scabbia of Lacuna Coil. Cristina,
Hi.
thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a pleasure. Thank you for
Yeah.
having me.
Well, let's talk about the new album, Sleepless Empire. Uh,
Yes.
First of all, I can relate to what the album title represents. Everyone's always on their phone, always scrolling, always doing something with it. Morning to night, it never stops, right?
It's true. It's true. That's exactly the idea that stands behind the record. It's not a concept record,
Mhm.
but it was our reflection on how things changed throughout the years. And we've always been there from floppy disks and cassettes from the very beginning of our career and everything being analog. And to these days where everything is digital, where AI is so prominent. And we just wanted to, to take a look over it. And we imagined this empire confined by walls with all these inhabitants in which everybody's so connected to each other, but at the same time so disconnected
Yeah.
more than ever. So we started to realize, where we were in all this. And that's where the idea came from.
Yeah.
The feeling of being productive all the times. And as you said, we never sleep, always connected. The first thing we do is to grab our phone to be in touch with our friends. And maybe we're in touch digitally, but we haven't been going out to eat a pizza together in ages,
A hundred
you know?
percent. Yeah. I mean, I struggle with that, and now my daughter's struggling with that. She's 10. She has her first
Mm.
like iPad, and it's like Roblox, all the games and everything. Yeah. Oh well.
Isn't it strange? I mean,
A
I
little
have
bit.
a I
Yeah.
have a granddaughter that
Oh
when she
wow.
was three, I mean now she's an adolescent, but when she was three, she
Mm,
was scrolling through the phone and she would realize what was a picture, what was a video, and she was three.
Jesus.
I was just like,
Yeah.
what?
It's
Crazy.
scary. Yeah. And well, the album's box set includes an Oracle divination game, which is hidden in
Yeah.
the booklet for fans to find. What kind of clues can you give us?
Yeah, it's something special included in the deluxe edition.
Mm,
We are big nerds and fans of tabletop games. So we wanted to include something very simple to use and nothing complicated. So in the special edition, in the deluxe edition, which is a beautiful black box with the tri-skull on the cover, you will find not only the digipack of Sleepless Empire, but also a little bag with two special dice. They will
oh,
be like a D20, but with symbols created for the record. So they will be symbol existing only in this edition. And a printed paper with phrases connected to the symbols. So
that's
it will
awesome.
be somehow, to describe it shortly, like the eight ball game. You will be interrogating the oracle, you will throw the
Oh
dice, you
wow.
will connect the two different phrases that are the result of the symbol that are connected to the symbol that appeared on your two dice, and you will connect them and interpret them.
That's really
You can
cool.
use them for different questions. It's a fun game. I mean,
Awesome.
it's not a crystal ball. It will be up to you, but it will be something fun
Yeah.
extra.
Well, I applaud initiatives like that because nowadays music is almost free, right? You get that instantly on Spotify or other platforms, and bands need to find new ways to engage with the fans. So something like that, when it comes along, it's awesome.
Yes, and we
Yeah.
also like it because, I mean, as I said, being nerds, we like
Yeah.
collectibles. We like things that you can actually touch and collect and expose in your house and display in your house.
Yeah.
We always did special editions, and also we're lucky because metal is one of the very few genres in which fans are still attached
Yeah.
to the physical. Uh, to a physical copy of a record. They are looking for vinyls or a digipack or special editions of CDs. They still like to see them and touch them, and
Yeah.
own them 100%.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. And tell me about the album cover. I know you're particularly proud of that one, and you work with a Neapolitan illustrator. I really like this cover art too. So tell me about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the idea came from Mamaki, our bass player, who's
Mm,
also the responsible for the music of Lacuna Coil for many years now, and also many, many graphics. For this record in particular, we really wanted, I mean, we did it in the past many times, but with this record, especially thinking about the developing and the changing of society with AI more prominent,
mm.
we wanted something that would go on the other direction. So we worked with Roberto Toderico, who is a wonderful artist, who's a friend of ours. We've been knowing him for a few years now. And he did everything, by hand. It was ink on
Oh, wow.
paper to create everything. Of course, it has been scanned and maybe made, extra perfect with Photoshops. Maybe the blacks were becoming blacker and the white whiter.
Right.
But those are real artworks created by a real person. And we wanted to have a cohesive work uh, that would be mainly Italian made. And so we recorded it in Italy,
Right.
illustrated by an Italian. We had some guests from the States, and
Yeah.
the label is not Italian, but we wanted to have like a organic, real record made by humans
Awesome.
cooperating together and having a good time together.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously, who we are right now is a reflection of past experiences. But do you think re-recording Comalies a few years ago has kind of informed how this album came out, or not
Oh yeah.
really? Mm,
Oh yeah, I think that this brought back a lot of memories, and without even thinking about it, I think it brought back some sonorities from the past.
mhm.
The fact that we found ourselves to listen to old music and to rewrite an old record, I think that brought something to Sleepless Empire also because we started to put down ideas at the same time we were rewriting Comalies.
Mm.
So I think that this brought back a lot of stuff from the past.
Right. And well, the band has been releasing songs for a long time. I think the first single came out a year ago now. To me, that's kind of new because usually we hear one or two songs a month before the album comes out. Is there a reason for that? I mean, was that deliberate, kind of a
Yeah,
marketing
no, no,
strategy?
there is because Never Dawn, you're talking about Never Dawn,
Yeah.
was written in a completely different way than ever before because it's
Mm,
a song that we wrote on purpose for a trailer of a table game called Zombicide White Death, the expansion of White Death,
mhm.
that was also including our miniatures, the miniatures of the members of Lacuna Coil as an extra on Kickstarter. And it was a different way of working for us because we were directly inspired by images. And even lyrically, I got inspired a lot from the lore of A White Death.
Right.
So it was a different way of working that inspired us tremendously. And of course, it came out when they presented the Kickstarter for this game. And that
Right.
was many months ago.
Yeah. And I love the video we did for Gravity. I think it's
Yeah.
closing to 500,000 views on YouTube.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, the lyrics are awesome. I like, let me quote, I have to fall down to climb back on top. I know how it goes when it's gone too far, etc. Like it's really cool and it's related to the visual concept of the video too.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
The song about talks about, hate, depression, about the fact that sometimes you really have to touch the bottom to get up.
yeah,
And I mean, it happened to all of us, in a harder or a lighter way to find ourselves lost without really knowing what to do or feeling that we couldn't go on in some things. And the whole video represents this, a sort of a fall floating, find
yeah,
yourself in a sort of a limbo. We love the fact that I was falling into a coffin
yeah,
in a different dimension, and I was trying to grab Andrea to find back the contact to reality and something nice, and I couldn't meet him. It was a video that was also very hard to do. I mean,
Oh, I
we
bet.
like to challenge ourselves. I mean, if in the previous video I was almost drowning in water and was not easy to do,
Yeah,
with gravity it was difficult because I was upside down pretty much all the times to give it the idea of falling. Uh, it was not, it was fun, but it was not fun because I mean
yeah.
my back hurt for like 2 weeks because I
Gee,
had a super tactical corset that was super tight in order to
right.
give me the security because my legs were in the air and my head
Oh,
was lower, and I had two people in the crew that was basically using two lift blowers on my face to give
oh,
the idea.
of
And
falling. Yeah.
Andrea did the same, but not
Uh,
upside down, and all the other members were lifted up from the ground.
right.
It was very interesting and different.
Yeah.
And
I
we recently filmed another video for I Wish You Were Dead that will be very surprising.
Oh, that's one of the most pop appealing songs of the album. I wish you were dead, despite the themes, of course. But it's kind of a nod to pop music a little bit, right? I bet it's going to be popular with the fans for sure. Yeah,
Well, it's
yeah,
definitely interesting. At least it's interesting to me how a song that is so bouncy and also short in a
mhm,
way, in a sort of a pop way, but
yeah.
it's not the right
Term.
description.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
it's also having strong words in it
mhm,
because I mean, in a sort of a happy vibe, you're saying, I wish you were dead." It's kind of like
yeah, yeah,
it's really weird. And
yeah.
the video will be very, very special. I can't wait to be released.
Awesome. Well, tell me about the two guests that you have, Randy Blythe on Hosting the Shadow and Ash Costello on In the Meantime.
Yes,
Yeah.
they are born like the collaborations are born differently because we
Mhm,
already knew Randy. He was a friend. He was a longtime friend, to work together, it's something that we've always dreamt about on both sides because it's always cool to collaborate with a friend.
mhm,
So we asked him, knowing that the answer could have been no for reasons that were beyond his control, labels, timelines.
yeah,
But he immediately said yes. He loved the song and he did a killer job. So
yeah.
both songs were already written. So we sent both songs to either Randy and Ash,
Ash.
and they came back with a killer job.
Yeah.
And with Ash, it was different because we never met in person before the release of the song. We met when we toured together right after the song and video were released. We knew each other on social medias. We were following each other. We were commenting posts of each other. But we were always saying like, "I can't wait to meet you. I can't wait, to be together finally."
Uh-huh.
But it was never the right moment. And we finally collaborate. I asked her if she wanted to be part of the record, and she said yes. And again, I mean, she killed it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, speaking particularly in the meantime, I can definitely relate to that because I have a day job, and many times it seems like we're in a loop on autopilot without any time to think and just going with through the motions and
Yeah, in the
doing what
loop.
has to
Yeah.
be done. So, yeah,
Yeah,
um,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
It is what it is. I mean, most of us are stuck in a routine, even if
yeah,
my job is different than yours. For us, even when we're on tour, sometimes it gets into a routine because you wake up in a city, you get in the venue, you have breakfast in the venue, you sound check, you play
yeah,
the gig, you say hi to fans, and you're back on the bus. So even the most exciting job from the outside can lead you to sometimes look at yourself and just like, what can I do to get out of this routine or give
yeah.
importance to my life because I'm not just a robot doing the same thing over and over.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. And another one that stood out for me is oxygen, which describes this sense of drowning. We touched on this a little bit, but drowning in
Mhm.
a toxic environment, literally and metaphorically. Does that come from personal experience from you or?
Oh yeah, I think
Yeah.
definitely, definitely. I think it happened. to all of us to be in a relationship. I mean, it's not just a love relationship. It can be a work relationship or
Yeah.
even a friend that betrays you that and you're not expecting it. Uh, Humans are so weird, the relationship in between humans is always tricky. Sometimes there is not even right or wrong, just a
Yeah.
person is not right for you, but it happens to be on your path. Uh, and sometimes you definitely feel like you're drowning in water, in toxic waters. So
Yeah.
you have to find, the way to go back to the surface and breathe again.
Yeah.
And the video, it's basically representing this.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you ended things on a happy note. Like Never Dawn has a positive message about overcoming limitations, igniting the fire in your heart. So there's that silver
Yeah.
lining in the lyrical theme of the album as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're always positive. I mean, even though
Mhm.
we are absolutely attracted by the darker side of music and visuals as well, we love them to pieces, but we are very positive people at heart.
Yeah.
So I think it's cool to include also a little bit of hope in our music because there is always a way out. We just have to, to follow that light
Yeah.
at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you about the beginning of the band in 1994. I mean, at the time, metal was considered not relevant anymore. I lived through that, as a fan. And all I would see in the media at the time was grunge and Red Hot Chili Peppers. What
Mhm.
was it like to start a metal band at such a time and slowly growing? It must have been exciting, but also frustrating at times, right?
Well, honestly, I mean, even now, there is not a huge culture of rock and metal in Italy, so things didn't
Mm,
really change that much. Even though we talked with many artists that are not even close to metal, like
mm,
from the pop scene or from the mainstream scene. I know many of them, and they are fan of us, or they love metal music anyway, or at least they listen to metal artists.
mm.
Uh, Yet again, metal is has never been like prominent in Italy. When we started, we were just excited to be part of a band and create something together. We could have never imagined, to be here over 25 years after, still making music, still being relevant and being consistent in all those years. So in the beginning, we didn't really think like, oh, it sucks because metal has not the same importance
Yeah,
as pop music. We actually liked to be different. We liked to be doing something in a niche
right.
in a way. And we saw it growing step by step because for us it was a lifestyle. It was not even making music because we wanted to become rich or popular.
Mm,
It was what we were supposed to do. So seeing it change during time, it was exciting because we would have never expect anything of this. So every little brick that we
yeah,
were putting to build a house was a victory.
yeah. And I mean, would you say that there is a metal scene in Italy right now? I mean, I hear about so many bands that I like Rhapsody, Elvin King, DGM, Nanowar of Steel, so different between each other. But
Yeah, Flash God Apocalypse.
yeah, I
There
feel like
there
there's a
are.
scene. Yeah,
There are. The problem is that if you want to work in Italy only, it's pretty limited
yeah,
because the bigger scene is out of Italy. So
hmm
you can still have a good upcoming to shows from the metal crowd because the metal scene is there, but it's still in the underground. I mean, you
yeah,
don't see any metal song in the charts
yeah,
or anything like this in the main charts, at least.
yeah,
There are a couple of radio stations, but they are more classic. I mean, it's really hard for them to put out new music, to play new music, because not everyone that listen to the radio is open to listen to something either more extreme
yeah.
or new.
Yeah, I think it to an extent is like that everywhere. Like it's a subculture at best,
Yeah.
metal these days. Yeah,
Yeah.
but
And
yeah,
probably that's a good thing of it.
hmm
That probably it's supposed to stay like this, and we love
yeah,
it because it's not for everyone, and it's not a sold genre, a sold out genre.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sell
Yeah.
out, not sold
Yeah.
out.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let me ask you about touring. You mentioned that there's always a routine in place and, go from one city to the next and barely visit anything or have time to think. Is touring something you look forward to, or is it more like a necessity of the business for you?
No, I love to do it. I love to travel to meet people, meet new culture. We love to eat, so we're always looking forward, to try local food. And I love, just to walk around. And I mean, it's great for us because we are a band that it's really tight. We see ourselves like a second family.
Mhm.
It's really important for us to be together and do things together. So it's like traveling with my family. So
Yeah.
it's a pleasure. I don't see it as a stress. Or the only thing that I find really stressing is the traveling. I hate
Yeah.
airports, especially when you have to wake up, at 3 a.m. to go to the airport at 4 in the morning
Yeah.
and wait 4 hours before, the check-in
Yeah.
opens. Uh, and then go into a place in which you have to give a concert with 3 hours of sleep. That's what I don't like.
And be nice to everyone in between. Otherwise, you're like, oh, she's a diva. Yeah.
Exactly. Because I
Yeah.
mean, you want to give the best, but you
Yeah.
know that you can't be talking with everybody, that you can't pay attention to everybody. And
Yeah.
if you want to save the voice, you have to shut up and just like be secluded.
Of course. Yeah. Well, you have a lot of touring ahead of you this year. I know you're going to South America in a few weeks and then coming to the US and Canada where I live. So, including a date here in Toronto. So,
Yes.
and I know it's not easy to come to North America with all the costs and everything. So, I do appreciate that you're coming and I'll definitely see you there. I think you're playing
It's
at the history
our
here.
pleasure.
So, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
our pleasure. I mean, we
Yeah.
love Canada, so
Yeah.
every time we come back, it's a huge pleasure for us.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll definitely be there. So, Christina, thank you so much for your time and the
Thank
interview.
you.
All the best with the new
Thank
album,
you.
Sleepless Empire.
Thank you so
Grazie
much and
mille.
see you very soon. Ciao,
Cheers.
Rodrigo.
Bye.
Ciao. Bye bye.
Bye.